Hi all. So I decided to make a little video. You may have noticed Wednesday's video cut off after 16 minutes. And I wanted to talk to you briefly about the idea of inductive coding. When you're doing qualitative research, you wind up with all this information, right? So you wind up with all these transcripts of interviews you have, of your field notes, etc., right? But it's a ton of information. And so inductive coding is the way in which qualitative researchers make sense of that material. The thing about coding is that coding is often as much kind of an art as a science. You may or may not report on your coding. It depends on what kind of journals you're publishing in. It depends on how much space you have. But what you always do is you always try to be honest to show your audience what you see, where you're getting it from. You provide a lot of quotes and context and things like that. And so inductive coding is the way you generate that material. And so basically what inductive coding is that you take any given text. Now we use the word text broadly a lot of times. In qualitative terms, a text is anything that has meaning. So it could be a video, it could be, if you're doing like content analysis, it could be photographs, whatever, right? But essentially what you're doing is you're taking whatever sample of either that existing content or the interviews or your field notes, and then you're trying to pull out what are the relevant themes, right? What are the important things that come up over and over again? What are the interesting things that get said, right, within the text? So basically the way to do this is you just pour through whatever you're studying, right? And then particularly if it is like a text like words, you make highlights, right, or marks, and then you attach a specific code to that. I'll give you guys, oh, wait, never mind. So I was thinking I had a book here that I could show you some of my codes, but I do not. So basically what you do is like, so like recently I've been doing a study of travel literature produced by scientists. And I'm going through and looking for all the ways in which this travel literature plays off of certain colonial themes and how it talks about its science, right? So a good example would be like one of the books I'm using right now. Well, actually, this could work as an example. So one of the books that I'm using right now is I am coding actively Charles Darwin's A Voyage of Beagles. And so basically, if you were to look, I can show you this. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going through, and here's a good page to see this, and I'm finding certain things that basically, like when I'm reading it, I'm like, huh, like that seems relevant, it might be relevant to the study I'm doing. And so whenever that comes in, I write something down and a code, right, the explanation of what it is, and then I give a page number. Now some of these are things that only occur once, but they're of particular interest, and then other things may occur a lot of times. So like every time he has a harsh description of one of the towns he goes to, I give a page number for that, and then I can go back through that. Every time he mentions how ignorant natives are, I have page numbers for that. Every time he talks about, he visits this one area where there's a genocide, right? And every time he talks about the person committing the genocide, I make a note of that to get his reactions and thoughts on it, right? So basically, that's what you do for coding, is you, in one way or another, however you decide to do it, and there's software to help you with this if you're somebody who particularly likes using software, especially if what you're doing is digital rather than sort of text like I work with as a comparative historical researcher. So basically what you do is you go through and you pull out those relevant themes, and you'll end up with more than you can possibly use, but then you recombine them into new themes, right, etc., etc. So coding is just that process. So when you hear people talking about inductive coding, what makes it inductive is you're starting with all that information and then you're pulling out relevant things, right? Part of how you decide what's relevant is going to be by what's theoretically relevant in your field, what's interesting, what people talk about. Those things will help guide you in making decisions about which observations are going to contribute to existing literature. So that's basically how inductive coding works. That's my quick explanation of it. If you have any questions, let me know, especially in that sort of section, but that was the one thing that I wanted to make sure that I covered for you guys that didn't get covered on Wednesday's video. Have a great weekend. Bye.